The number one thing you are doing wrong at college showcases in order to play college soccer. I'm the college soccer guy, and I help you play college soccer. Let's get into it. So, college showcases, how do they work? What are they, etc.? Okay, you probably know at this point, if you're playing on a club soccer team, you should be going to college showcases. Now, what college showcases are you going to? Which ones are the best ones, etc.? So here is the bottom line. For the best Division 1 teams, the best events are MLS Next events. So MLS Next Fest, MLS Next Playoffs. These are the best events, okay? Theoretically, the best kids are at these events. The next one is ECNL Playoffs, ECNL Showcases. Those are the best showcases. Now, some other ones to consider: Man City Cup, which has a mix of levels. Surf Cup, which has a mix of levels. Jefferson Cup, which has a mix of levels. And then there's a bunch of regionals and state cups and things of that nature that can be kind of qualified as showcases. And then there's a ton of other showcases based off of where you live and what your region is. And if you reach out to me, I can tell you whether or not it's a good one or a bad one. What you need to know is if there are college coaches coming, right? There's a list of coaches coming. You need to remember the following two things. Number one, there are more coaches coming than that are on that list. Number two, the coaches on that list may not show up to that college ID camp, which I know is really frustrating because you're like, they're on the list. But if you understand those 2 points, it will help you do this next piece. When you're at the beginning of the process, freshman, sophomore year, what I want you to do is I want you to send an email to these coaches, especially if you're on the girls' side. Right, all of the coaches that are attending, I want you to send an email to them, even if you're not that interested in them. You can skip JUCOs and NAI schools if your grades are above a 3.0, but otherwise, email all of them. There's a couple of reasons. One, these coaches all know each other. So the more interest you can get from everybody, the way better your life will be. So for example, let's say you get recruited by a coach from a showcase and you go, "Coach, I saw you know so-and-so. That's really my ideal school. That said, I'm looking for backups. Would you be comfortable being a reference for me since you've seen me play in person?" They know each other, okay? The world is tiny, okay? I know so many of these college coaches. I either played with them at the pro level, I played with them in college. The High Point coach and I live together. The Northeastern coach and I live together. It's just inevitable. You know, there's so many of them. I'm just thinking now through my head. There's another school in Colorado. He and I played together in the USL 2. Then another player of mine, I was on an official visit with him when I was playing college soccer. And that's just me, right? And I'm going on 30. Imagine these coaches who've been doing this for 30, 40 years. They know everybody, okay? So the more interest you get, the better. Now, when you go to send this email, this is kind of what we would call our mass email. And if you haven't seen the mass email template video, click over here because then you'll be able to see and go watch that. But basically, you're going to send this mass email to the showcases. I also want you to include schools that you don't even know if they're going, and I want you to write the email as if they are going. The reason is, one, you'll likely get out a response out of them, and this is a little bit of human psychology-ness. If you were to say to a girl on a date, "You must be a Scorpio," odds are she's not, just statistically speaking, and she's going to not like that you assume that, so she's going to be very likely to respond to you if that's via text message or if you're just talking to her. With coaches, if you say you're going to be at the showcase and they're not going to be there, they're likely to respond to you because they're like, oh, they want to be correct with their schedule. Vice versa, if you say to a coach, you're going to be there and they initially weren't on the list, they may then go, "I am actually going to be there. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing you." Now, what is the ask in the showcase email that we send? So this is the ask I want you to use, and this is the ask that is just a game changer. "Dear coach," template. Look at that other video if you're not sure what to say. Then the ask is going to be, "May I have permission to shake your hand in person at the showcase?" Now, there are a couple NCAA rules. I don't really want to get too bogged down in them because if the coach responds in any way, it's a win. But technically speaking, if you are a freshman and sophomore before June 15th, Division III coaches can speak to you, but technically cannot recruit you on campus. And there's some limitations to what they can do as well off campus. So because of that, they may say to you, which has happened to our student, "Please do say hi, but technically, because you're not on campus, I can't recruit you." But they said, "Please say hi." That's all you have to go do. Remember, these coaches are going to adopt you for the next 4 years, and they don't want you transferring. And a lot of kids transfer every year. So they want to get to know you as a person. They want to get to know your family. They want to know that you will enjoy the school. And they want to know that you're not going to end up in jail when you go party one night in college, which happened to a couple of my teammates. And they were great people still, but my college coach might have said to himself, well, I wish I had got to know them a little bit better. Or college coaches also understand it's college, that stuff happens. But the point is, you want to develop a relationship with them. So please ask that as a freshman or sophomore. Now, if you're a junior, the reason you're going to ask that is because you could have a proper one-on-one meeting with them at the showcase, which would be huge. You cannot get a one-on-one meeting with them unless you're going on a visit, either unofficial or official, or maybe if you're lucky after college ID camp, but it's very difficult because they're so busy. So the only other way is if you set up a phone call with them, which is a difficult thing as well. But a showcase, look, they're going, you're going, let's say hi to each other. It's amazing. And guess what? This happened to one of our students. They were playing NPL. We used this email template. They're a good soccer player. We fixed their video, their template, everything else. We identified the correct schools. This player sent that message to a number of schools, and there was a line waiting to talk to him at the college showcase. There was like 3 or 4 schools all wanting to talk to him. You don't think those other schools liked seeing that other schools wanted to talk to him? That's back to human psychology. Everybody wants what they can't have. Everybody wants what everyone else has. That was huge for this student. And this student now, who is playing, not MLS Next, is being recruited by schools that traditionally only recruit those kids because he understood the recruiting process that we taught him. So that's what I want you guys to use, and that's how we make the most of showcases. Now, what most of you will do at a showcase is you're going to email the coach your schedule within the email. Okay, so you're going to write your template and you say, my schedule is below along with my video. And when you would give that schedule, please make sure it's really organized. The date, the time, the location, your jersey color, your jersey number. I just got off the phone with the coach at High Point, and he was explaining to me all these people are sending us their information, but they're not putting their jersey number or their number. I don't know who they are when I get to the field. So it's literally a waste of an email. So please put your jersey number and your color of your team. Remember, when you end up at the showcase, and I've been to a million of these, a lovely mother or father is the admin, hands us a piece of paper with all these names on it, none of which we even know if they want to come to our school. So it's a waste of time for us to recruit them unless there's one particular student we want to see. Then while we're there to watch the kids, one team scores. We don't know what color they are. We don't even know who we're looking for, and it's a very frustrating process. I don't know how this process hasn't improved over the last 20 years, but my job is to help that happen, which is you're going to do the following. You're going to make your own pamphlet separate from your teams. Now, there's a couple of nuances here. If you give your own individual pamphlet to the coach, to the admin, odds are they're going to be like, I'm not going to give that one out because then you're ahead of my kid and that's not fair. And we all have to make everyone equal. So we all get the same pamphlet. Here it is. But that pamphlet is not good enough. So this is what you're going to do. You have to play multiple games in a day usually. So you have to walk to the field. You have to walk away from the field. You have to go to the bathroom. Coaches are always sitting in the corner of a field. You're going to send your mom and dad, or you are going to do it, preferably you. If you do send mom and dad, I have a TikTok video of me doing like an interaction of how to do that as a mom or dad, because you do not want to bother the coaches and they hate you. Okay, parents, just get over it. College coaches hate you. That's just how it is. So what I want you to do is you just go, I know you're very busy, coach. My child asked me to give this to you. They're standing over there warming up and they recognized you. They've emailed you. Here you go. Then leave them alone. And that's difficult to do sometimes. But look, you're not going to jail if you talk to the college coaches. Your job is to get noticed. Now, not being polite could mean you don't get recruited, so make sure you're very polite. Better yet, your student or you go and hand your pamphlet to the coaches. Now, here's what's going to be on that pamphlet that's going to be different than the pamphlet that your team is giving out. This is what we call the college showcase pamphlet when you work with me. You're going to put a barcode of your highlights and in every touch video. You're going to put a picture of you so they know what you look like. You're going to attach your schedule again on that piece of paper. And then the most important part is at the bottom of it, you are going to specify what type of schools you're interested in. And then on top of that, you're going to leave quotes of schools that have already shown interest in you. So for example, with that one student I told you about who had schools waiting in line with them, I'll pull up his document here. We have a photo of him. Then we have his barcodes. Then if you scroll down, you'll see his schedule. Then if we scroll down some more, you're going to see quotes. These are quotes from college coaches, from my DCamps and emails, etc., that he has received. So college coaches look at this and they go, this kid is a high academic. I'm a high academic school. If I watch him, I may recruit him. If he He's open to going to other places. I see his budget. If you're comfortable putting your budget, put your budget, because that makes coaches much more likely to recruit you if they know you can afford most of the school, or they're anticipating, or you're anticipating an academic scholarship because you have great grades. Put that on the pamphlet. And you can put on there as well what types of schools you're interested in and that you're open-minded. Now, all of a sudden, it's basically like your business card that you're handing out at a career fair. That's kind of what the showcases really should be about. Now, the hard part of this is students of mine, they go, Zev, it was really hard for us to hand it out. We didn't see the college coaches, or they were only there for a few minutes, and then I was playing a game. I wasn't able to hand it to them. That's right. You may not be able to hand it to them. My job is to get you 1% closer each time. So if you don't have them printed out, you're not going to get that 1% closer. But if you do print it out and you run into that one coach, then you can send it to them. And I think about my own story. When I was getting recruited by Valparaiso, my mother had identified this school because the coach had gone to Santa Barbara, which is where my grandma was from. And as it happened, the school, Valpo, is not far from Gary, Indiana, which is where my grandpa grew up. And so my mom was like, hey, Zev, you should reach out to the school and you should say these things. I recognize, Coach, you're from California also, but that you're the head coach of a school in Indiana. This is who we are. This is my information. I'm going to see you at the showcase. And then I got to hand him my pamphlet specifically because I got to run into him. Was it a likely chance? Absolutely not, but it still occurred. And that's why I want you guys to take the most of your chances as well. And we're going to send all of them in an email otherwise, but it's pretty rare that when you're in human, right? When you're in human to human, not over email, there's nothing they can do when you hand them that piece of paper. They can't hit mark unread or spam it or trash it, right? They're human beings. So that's a really awesome opportunity to just give them the pamphlet. Sometimes your parents will need to do that. Remember, there's also sometimes a section where only coaches can go and parents cannot go. But students, you guys basically, because you're an athlete, imagine you have like an imaginary lanyard. They like talking to you. Now, they'll tell you very specifically, hey, we're not allowed to recruit you. We're not allowed to talk to you. Hand them your pamphlet. Okay, it's not illegal. You're allowed to hand them. And if you say, look, Coach, I emailed you. I know you're busy. I know you're not even allowed to recruit me. Or, Coach, we've spoken before over email. I just want to say it's a real pleasure to meet you. That show them appreciation. Remember, they're not very often or not making very good money, so they do this out of the love of their heart. So they want to work with students that appreciate the fact that they traveled all that way to see them. And I can tell you right now, if you come up to me and say, Mr. Taubleib, I just want to say I love your videos. They've changed my life. You don't think I'm going to want to talk to you more than some other kid who just says hi on my Instagram DMs? Of course I'm going to. It's the same thing with college coaches. Okay, I'm sorry if I was really aggressive there. I want to say one other thing here while we're going over this. When you are trying to figure out your schedule for showcases, please make sure you have a document. And if you work with me, I have a very specific one to keep track of when your showcases are, because showcases trump ID camps. So if you got to pick between an ID camp and a showcase, pick the showcase, unless it's a bad showcase. So a lot of coaches are not showing up. And the ID camp is one where you're like, the coach is very genuine. They really want to see me. You can even ask the coach, look, Coach, what do you think I should do in my recruiting career? I've got the showcase coming up, and I also have this ID camp. The coach might go, oh, you're going to be at that showcase? You should go to that showcase, and you should come to my ID camp later in the summer because I'm going to be at the showcase. So showcases traditionally trump ID camps, which would make your parents and you very happy because you're already paying for showcases because you're already on the club team, while ID camps feel like an additional fee, and so mentally it doesn't feel very good. And you do have to pay for ID camps at some point, but if you can minimize those with showcases, the best way to get recruited, to be honest with you, is you don't even have to go to ID camps. You just go to a ton of showcases. The college coaches watch you 3 or 4 times and recruit you. It doesn't cost you any extra money. You're being seen in a competitive environment. Coach likes you. You get signed. The problem traditionally is the chances that you are at the showcase when the coach is at the showcase at the exact same times is just so unlikely. So I want to give you one more analogy. I hope you watch till the end of this video because for some reason I seem to give the best moments of tips at the end of my videos, which is if you just do math for a second, you're a freshman and let's say you're not playing ECNL or MLS Next, which is most of you. You have to spend time playing ECNL and MLS Next. So let's say that takes you a year. That means you missed all of those playoffs. But let's say you are playing ECNL and MLS Next as a freshman. You probably have 2 showcases in your life during your freshman year. most of the time, Division 3 schools will kind of watch you. Division 1 schools at the highest levels might watch you, but you're not going to get a lot of attention because you are on the younger and earlier end. However, those videos are so crucial. They're like diamonds because you can send those to coaches, and then that's how you can get them interested in you, and it's just amazing. Side note. Now, that's 2. Let's say, perfect world, you go to 2 showcases. The chances that your coaches that you love are at those showcases, very unlikely. Let's say you go to 2. Then your sophomore year, let's say you have 3, so that's 5. Let's say your junior year, you have another 3, so that's 8, okay? Senior year showcases are almost too late. You could argue there's, say, 2 more. So let's say you have 10 showcases in your entire life. 10, okay? That's just not very many. Those are the numbers. Now, you're injured. Now, you don't play because your coach aren't playing you very minutes. Now your college coach that's come to scout you has to go to the bathroom when you score your banger. Now the college coach is there, but you don't play any minutes because you got injured or the coach decided to not play you. Now let's shrink it down to there's 2 to 3 showcases, 2 to 3 showcases where the coaches will have a good chance of watching you. And if they watch you, maybe they have to go to another game, so they only got to watch 20 minutes of your game. You can see why it's really hard to get recruited off of showcases. This is why ID camps guarantee coaches 2 or 3 hours with you with no distractions guaranteed. Now, often, like I said, they're going to say to you, we love seeing you at the ID camp, but we need to see you in a more competitive environment because ID camps are just full of strangers. So then they go to your showcase or they get more video or they call your coaches to find out a little bit more about you. Sometimes they can make an offer straight off of ID camps. Sometimes they can't offer showcases, but it's difficult. Just briefly, my own story, I was going to a college ID camp at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. It was a 3-day camp where I would sleep over. They got to know me as a person. Cal Poly were like, we really liked you, but we'd already seen you at a showcase, so we're going to make you an offer. They later retracted my offer, which was really heartbreaking. And then luckily Valpo, who had never seen me at any showcase because they're a school in Indiana, saw me at the ID camp, liked me, brought me on an official visit. While on the official visit, there was some players that like weren't playing any minutes in the game on the weekend. So they said like, hey, Zev, you could just go play with them for fun. Just like not official. Played with them. I'm sure the players who I was playing with knew the coach or were on the team, but maybe not as starters, and then told them about me, and that's how I got recruited. So those types of things happen. There's not like, perfect rules for all these things. And the coach is not allowed to watch you in those situations, so I'm sure he didn't. But I remember there's this one story, side note. I was getting recruited. I don't know if somebody would get in trouble for this, but I don't think so because it was a while ago. I was getting recruited by Hofstra, and the coach was like, we really want to see you play like in person. And my family's from New York, but so living in New York was reasonable. But I was like, how are you going to see me to showcase? My team was playing California, and they're like, well, we don't have any showcase, but what if you come on a Thursday, and we're going to put you with our club team, which the college coach was coaching, and we're going to have you try out for us, right? Which, therefore, he's not recruiting me. I'm just trying out for a random club team in New York. It was at this amazing, beautiful field. I really wish I remembered the name of it. And I played in that, and I played really well. And they got to see me up close in a competitive environment. Was that official to the rules? Kind of, sort of, not really. Later, I went in on the office, and they offered me a half scholarship, half athletic scholarship. And I was like, that's amazing. I ended up having a really bizarre official visit where the guy got drunk, and it was a really scary visit. And I did not end up liking the school. It's a totally new coach there, and it's nothing the same. Hofstra's an amazing place and a great academic school. The point is that that's how this recruiting process can also work, and you have to know how to manage that because of these silly NCAA rules, because the NCAA rules are really dumb. Now, Division II schools can have you on trial, which creates a really good dynamic, but they can only see you for one day, which is also really dumb, but it varies per school and da-da-da. So I'll help you with all that. Anyways, give me a call if you need more help. That should have covered showcases. Great job, and be proactive, and I will talk to you soon.